For my anniversary, a package arrived from my mom. My husband touched the box and whispered, "Don't move." I laughed until I looked where he was staring. I backed away. 30 minutes later, police were outside. My name is Riley Knox. And if your heart can take it, keep watching. How do you love someone who might be trying to kill you? The box was wrapped in plain brown paper, the handwriting weirdly neat. He said it smelled like chemicals. I thought he was joking until I saw his face. His eyes locked on a thin wire poking from the corner like a vein. The moment he yelled, I dropped the knife I was holding. The one I'd just used to cut our anniversary cake. I couldn't speak. I couldn't move. My husband, Evan, had already backed halfway into the hallway, hand outstretched like I was a hostage. He told me to get out of the house. I ran. He didn't. Instead, he called someone, not 911, and started whispering. I heard only a few words. She opened it. Not yet. Looks real. The word she stopped me cold. She, not we. Sirens came fast. The street was full of lights. I sat on the neighbor's lawn with shaking hands while the bomb squad stormed in. The package was evacuated and detonated off-site. Inside, a real explosive. Homemade. Trigger-rigged to open. But that wasn't the only thing the police found. Inside our house, hidden in the back of Evan's closet, was another package. Same wrapping. Same handwriting. But this one was addressed to me. From me. Only I never wrote it. Never mailed it. I didn't even know it existed. And when they opened it, what was inside was so twisted, one of the officers vomited on our front steps. But what wrecked me most wasn't the content. It was the photo tucked inside. Of me. Sleeping. Timestamped 2 nights ago. Someone was inside our home. Watching me. And Evan wasn't nearly as surprised as he should have been. They questioned me for hours like I was the one who planted it. And Evan? He played the panicked husband perfectly. Hands shaking. Voice breaking. Said he barely held it together when he saw the wires. Even asked for a glass of water mid-interview, the kind of theatrics you see in courtroom dramas. But me? I couldn't cry. Couldn't fake fear. I was numb. Suspicious. Because in my gut, something already felt wrong. The second package, the one hidden in our closet, had old photos. Printed. Grainy. All of me. Me brushing my teeth. Me changing. Me in the shower. Someone had been watching me for weeks. And Evan's first reaction wasn't rage or terror. It was recognition. They found the photo memory cards tucked in a shoebox behind his boots. His explanation? Oh, God, those aren't mine. I swear, maybe someone planted them to frame me. Classic. But he didn't even ask me if I was okay. He didn't touch me once that night. Didn't hold me. Didn't say, "You're safe now." He just kept asking, "Did you tell them anything weird? Did you mention the inheritance? Did they take my laptop?" That last one sent a jolt through me, because I never said anything about his laptop. And suddenly, I remembered a moment 2 weeks earlier. He told me not to go in his office because he was working on a surprise for our anniversary. He even locked the door. Now I wondered if the surprise was a bomb. Or maybe something worse. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay in bed beside a man who was either a target or a predator. At 2:03 a.m., while he snored beside me, I tiptoed to his office. The door was still locked, but I knew where he kept the spare key, taped under the fire extinguisher. Inside, the room smelled like cold sweat and printer ink. On his desk, 2 things that made my blood stop moving. A printed blueprint of our living room, marked with optimal placement, and a receipt for $14,200 in cash, handed to someone named Jace Morgan. I didn't know who Jace was, but I was about to find out. By morning, Evan had already called out of work, said we needed time to process. I told him I had a headache. Truth was, I was processing all right, processing the blueprint of my own death. The name on the receipt haunted me. Jace Morgan. It wasn't a name I recognized. Not a coworker. Not a friend. Not family. So I did what every woman does when she's on the edge of panic and truth. I searched, found his name in my husband's emails, buried deep in the trash folder, months old. Subject line: we're square. No loose ends. The body of the email? A photo of me at the gym. And a Venmo handle. I clicked. Jace had a public profile. His bio read: private security, surveillance, discreet work. No questions. And under his transactions? April 3rd, $3, 500, Blueprint Recon. May 16th, $2, 000, install. June 28th, $8, 700, final payment collision. The last one? The emoji wasn't a mistake. I felt the scream rise in my throat, but swallowed it like glass. I screenshotted everything. Every message, every transaction, every photo. Evan was planning something. Maybe still is. I needed help. Someone outside of all this. So I drove to the only person I knew would listen. Callie, my best friend since freshman year of college. She's the type who can spot a lie in a hurricane. She opened the door in her pajamas, took one look at me, and said, "Tell me everything." I did. Start to finish. Callie went quiet. Then she said something that twisted everything sideways. "Riley, I know that name. Jace Morgan dated my cousin and nearly beat her to death." I swear the floor shifted beneath me. She pulled out her phone, searched her cousin's messages. There he was. Same man. Same name. Same emoji. Collision. But here's what broke me most. Callie swiped again, scrolling through old screenshots her cousin had sent her, and stopped. She turned the screen toward me. My husband, Evan, sitting beside Jace at a bar, laughing, arms around two women. The photo was from 2019, for years before I ever met him. He knew Jace long before any of this started. He knew exactly what he was doing when that package arrived. And now, so did I. I didn't drive home. I couldn't. Not after seeing that photo. Not after realizing the man I married, the man I shared a bed, a name, and a future with, had been orchestrating my slow, silent erasure. I sat in Callie's guest room with the lights off, knees pulled to my chest, scrolling through every memory with him like they were evidence in a trial. And the verdict? Guilty. The locked office. The late-night work trips. The password changes on our shared accounts. The time I got sick and he insisted on making my tea. The same day I passed out in the shower and woke up with a bruise the shape of a doorknob. Back then, he said I slipped. Now I wonder if he watched. I pulled out my laptop and logged into the home security app. He didn't know I had it synced to my cloud. I downloaded the last 90 days of footage. Camera angle, hallway. Date, June 28th, the night of the final Venmo payment. At exactly 3:14 a.m., Evan walked down the hall holding a box. Not a gift. Not a surprise. A device. Wires. Tape. Small and lethal. He opened the closet, placed it on the top shelf, paused, then looked straight into the camera. He knew. He stared for 5 full seconds, and smiled. I dropped the laptop. I couldn't breathe, couldn't blink, couldn't move. That look wasn't panic. It wasn't hesitation. It was a countdown. And suddenly, I realized what today was. July 7th, the day after our anniversary, which meant the first bomb was never meant to kill me. It was a rehearsal, a test to see what I'd do, how I'd react, who I'd run to. And if he knew I'd found Jace's name, then he was already planning the real one. That's when my phone buzzed. A text from Evan. "Come home. We need to talk. Don't make me come find you." I stared at the screen, my fingers trembling, my mouth dry. And for the first time in this whole nightmare, I whispered out loud, "He's going to kill me." Callie heard, and she didn't hesitate. She grabbed her car keys and said, "We're going to the cops. Now." But we didn't make it, because when we opened the front door, Evan was standing on the porch. He stood there like he owned the night, clean-shaven, calm, holding flowers, roses, The same kind he gave me the night we got engaged. But this time, there was a shadow in his eyes, something coiled and waiting. Callie stepped in front of me, blocking his view. "What the hell are you doing here, Evan?" she said, arms crossed, voice steel. He smiled. Not nervous. Not apologetic. Charming. Calculated. "I just want to talk to my wife," he said, eyes flicking to me. "That's not a crime, is it?" Callie didn't move. "She's not going anywhere with you." He laughed, soft, patronizing. "Riley, you're really gonna hide behind your little friend like this?" I stepped forward, shaking but firm. "You lied to me," I said. "I saw the footage. I saw you plant it." His face didn't even twitch. No shock. No fear. Just that damn smile. "Footage can be faked," he said. "Memories can be twisted. But marriage? That's real." He took a slow step toward me. And that's when Callie pulled out her phone and hit record. "Say that again," she snapped. "I want it on video." Evan froze. A flicker, the first crack in his mask. Then, fast as a switch, his voice changed. Lower. Tighter. Controlled. "You think this is smart, Callie? You think recording me's going to save her?" He looked at me again, eyes cold now. "You're making this worse than it has to be, Riley. You don't know what's coming." I stepped back. He stepped forward. Then Callie did something I'll never forget. She raised her voice and screamed, "I'm live streaming this. Say hi to the cops, Evan." She wasn't. But he didn't know that. He backed off like she'd pulled a gun. "You'll regret this," he said, backing down the steps. "Both of you." Then he walked away. Just walked. Callie locked the door behind him, heart pounding loud enough for both of us. "He's escalating," she whispered. "That wasn't goodbye. That was a warning." I nodded. Then I looked at her and said the words that sealed everything. "I'm not running anymore." Because if Evan wanted a war, he just found out who he married. The next morning, the house felt suffocating, like walls closing in, shadows stretching longer than they should. I barely slept. Every creak, every distant sound spun my nerves tighter. Callie helped me pack a small bag. Essentials. Phone charger. A change of clothes. "We're going to a safe house," she said, voice steady. "Friends of mine, off the grid." I nodded, but my mind raced. Who else knew? How deep was this web? I wasn't just a target. I was a chess piece in a game I never agreed to play. Later, as we drove away from the neighborhood, I called the one person I hoped could help. My mom's best friend, Linda. Linda had been a quiet presence after my mom died, always sending postcards, checking in, like she was guarding some secret I wasn't ready to hear. Her voice was calm, but firm. "You're in danger, Riley. Not just from Evan." I swallowed hard. "Who else?" She paused. "There's someone else watching." The line went dead. I sat in silence for minutes. And then my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Stop digging, or you'll lose more than you love." I showed Callie. Her eyes darkened. "That's not just a threat. It's a promise." We spent the next hours piecing things together. The package, the photos, the bomb. It all pointed to someone who wanted me out of the picture entirely. But why? And what did my mom have to do with it? The answer hit me like a freight train. My mom hadn't just disappeared 2 years ago. She had been involved in something dangerous. Something that Evan was now tied to. I realized I was standing on the edge of a legacy of lies and violence. Callie looked at me and said, "This isn't just about survival anymore. It's about uncovering the truth." I clenched my fists. And for the first time since this nightmare began, I felt something fierce burning inside. I was done being afraid. Callie and I spent days tracing my mom's past, digging through old letters, photos, and emails she'd left behind. What we found shattered everything I thought I knew. Mom wasn't just some quiet, loving woman. She'd been a whistleblower, exposing a massive underground cartel, the kind that used people like me as pawns. People she trusted, people like Evan. I stared at a photo of Mom standing next to a man I'd never met. Tall, cold eyes, the same name popping up everywhere. Jace Morgan. It was his game all along. The bombs. The photos. The threats. Jace wasn't just some hired gun. He was the kingpin behind everything, the invisible thread pulling at our lives. And Evan? He wasn't a victim or a hero. He was Jace's pawn. That night, after Callie left, I sat alone in the dark and let the silence swallow me. I thought about the woman I was before all this, trusting, hopeful, blindly in love. Now, I was a storm. I wasn't just fighting for my life. I was fighting to finish what my mom started, to take down Jace, to make Evan pay for the lies, and most of all, to survive. Because sometimes the hardest battles are the ones you fight inside. I set the trap. I called Evan, told him I wanted to meet, alone, no games. He showed up, calm but guarded. The last place he expected was the old warehouse by the docks. Lights flickered, shadows danced. I wasn't afraid anymore. I had the police watching from a distance, Callie with me, and a plan sharp enough to cut through years of deception. He tried to bluff, charm, threaten. But I held up a folder filled with evidence, emails, photos, payment records linking him directly to Jace. His mask cracked. He lunged. But the cops were faster. Handcuffs clicked. Justice was loud and clear. As they led him away, I looked at the setting sun, the horizon bleeding orange and red like the closing of a brutal chapter. I whispered to the wind, "Thank you, Mom." I finished it. I wasn't just a victim. I was a warrior. And this story? It ends with the truth standing tall.